my group has organization. Obviously, I'm in charge of schedule organization. So as you guys saw from the activity in the beginning of our presentation, there are many different ways to organize. So instead of trying to tell you what to do, I'm going to tell you what works for me, and then some other tips and tricks and what I found from my source as well. So I have 2 jobs. One is full-time, one is part-time. I'm sure many of you have 2 jobs, as well as being a full-time student in the fall, spring, and summer. So I'm busy. We're all busy. I get it. This is what I do personally to keep on top of my schedule, make sure I get everything done, don't forget anything, etc. So for me, at least, what I figured out and what I found is that there are 2 main types of schedules. There's a big picture schedule, and then there's more of a smaller, week-by-week, bite-sized type of schedule. For your big picture schedule, you could use your phone calendar. You could use a book calendar for the year, flip calendar that hangs up on the wall. I personally use a whiteboard. I write on here notes. Notes to myself, reminders to, do something. This is my school schedule for the term. I write down big deadlines, work, big events, this is my big picture schedule for the month. I, of course, put things like birthdays and such on my phone calendar, but this is my big picture schedule. And then I have a weekly schedule, which is just on a simple piece of paper. I basically write down in priority order. I figure out what needs to get done by when. For example, if there's a project coming up, let's say the first thing you need to do is plan out your project, and then you have specific tasks that need to get done in specific orders. So for example, let's say Monday I need to organize my project, and Tuesday I need to go shopping for supplies. Wednesday I have a specific task, specific part of the project that I need to have done by Wednesday. And so I'll write those things down and combine with all of my classes and work and family and different priorities, basically make a list of what needs to get done each day of that week in what order of priority. Another really important thing is to make sure that you leave enough space in each day for emergencies. Things pop up, we never know what's going to happen in the day. You could get behind, you could have a friend call you for help, you could have a family member, need help. So you just never know, you want to leave extra space in each day. But the most important thing is to remember you get things done in order of priority, because if you get to the end of the day and you forgot to do the thing that was due tomorrow, but you did everything else, where are you now? So it's really important to do that too. You want to make sure you break bigger things down into smaller tasks. That's very important as well. And then there are a few other types of things that I use tools to help with my schedule organization as well. I have a paper that has, this paper has every assignment or big deadline for the rest of the term for all of my classes that have big projects. Basically, I write down when they're due. That way I never have any questions as to what's going to be due for me. And then my other paper is more of a mini schedule of my big picture. Mini version of my big picture schedule, sorry. Basically, I mostly use this for classes, for big due dates, big deadlines, things that I really need to not forget when they're done by. That way, if I'm headed to class, if I'm headed out of town, I'm headed somewhere where I know I'm going to be getting work done, I can take my calendar with me, essentially on the go. So that's just kind of what I do for my scheduling, this little bite size of what I do for scheduling. There are also some more tips on the bottom of your handout, such as I reflect back on every week. I generally do my weekly scheduling things on Sunday, and so I generally reflect back on that week. What went well? What didn't go well? How can I adjust what I do to make sure that it keeps working for me and that I keep getting everything done that I'm supposed to with as little amount of stress as possible. Another thing is to avoid trying to remember everything. We're not superheroes, so you want to try to avoid keeping it in your head. You want to text yourself. That way you can come home and put it on a calendar. You want to write it down somewhere. You want to make a note list in your phone. Whatever. There are many different ways you can do that. Just try to avoid trying to keep it all in your head, because you'll forget something. You'll show up to class, professor will say turn in your paper, and you'll go, what paper? Then the last thing is, mostly importantly for me, make sure you always keep your long-term goals in mind. That's very, very important to me. So I hope that these things helped you out. I know scheduling is something that's more of a personal matter for each of us, how we keep our schedules, but that's just what I figured out works for me. I hope that helps you out.